you ever wonder what's out there? Wonder the mysteries of the cosmos? Ever had an experience you just can't explain? The Doc Demand Show, Campfire Stories, where the unbelievable becomes believable.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Campfire Stories, the paranormal podcast where we talk and go into the weird, the wondrous, the amazing. We got a former CIA operative that's going to talk about disclosure. And for those of you who don't know what disclosure is basically the government coming out and saying everything that a lot of people believe to be true is true, right? Basically saying aliens are real, God is real, all kinds of mythical creatures are real, coming clean, basically. And why don't they do that if indeed they have these secrets, right? Why don't they do that? And this guy goes into that conversation and talks about it, and hopefully we'll gain some knowledge and we can get y'all's thoughts on it. Being that this is a special episode of Campfire Stories, we are going to be able to go into deep dives. We're going to be talking. Day 4 is going to be a banger. I think it is. Metal Gear. We're going to, so we're going to get everybody's opinions. We got plenty of time, so there isn't any rush. We can talk about all types of stuff. Get some polls.
All right.
Really appreciate you, Metal Gear. Demand's ready?
We are 20 away from unlocking day 4.
Ooh.
Because Patreon counts as triple, and we actually got a Patreon subscriber by the name of Eternity
guys,
yesterday.
If you want to support us, Patreon is the best place to do it, even far and beyond Twitch. They take less money out of your pocket and ours. And it's a reoccurring subscription. We have special content currently right now. That's the only place that you can see Demand's cooking videos, where we had to split our YouTube channel up because it got too big. So we had to split our YouTube channel actually up into 3. So if you want to support us there, you get special content.
Show me them bitties.
Oh my God! Thank you for the
10 away.
Oh my God! 1,000 videos from Big Jugs McGee. Much love to you. Thank you so much. You have a limited time to. Oh my God! So
medium high. I don't know, man.
Metal Gear Greed, thank you for yesterday. By the way, you were absolute king. I think you almost solely convinced us to continue on with yesterday. If you missed it, it was League of Legends night. We did a Bronze All-Stars, so people that are new to the game or don't play very often kind of come in and entertain us with their takes on the game, and it's fresh, it's funny, it's interesting, it's epic, and I think it's actually going to be a series. I think Metal Gear nearly single-handedly convinced us to go through with that. Welcome, Blackwell Rose. Oh, Lady Werewolf said it was amazing. She thoroughly enjoyed it. So
really?
All of those who were,
heck yeah.
Hey, I mean, you're one of the first people who I think joined the Doc Demand Show because of that, and it's a new series. So probably be bringing the Bronze All-Stars back as much as we possibly can. Just low elo action as far as we can get it. We're probably going to go forward. Demand and I discussed it after the stream last night. We'll probably end up using just solo and duos going forward, because the flex, unless we have 2 full teams, flex is just full of Smurfs, and it's just not fair. Everybody that was watching felt sorry for Metal Gear Greed. He was going up against Emeralds, Diamond players. It was it had to be tilting beyond belief. So we're probably going to do solo and duos going forward, so that our Bronze All-Stars actually have a chance to play against people in their elo. League of Legends doesn't do a great job at matchmaking anyway, so there's always gonna be Smurfs and things that. Oh, Black Girl Rose wants to play. Is that why I ended up in silver rank? Oh yeah. There's luck involved, Metal Gear. There's absolutely luck involved. So
There is. I fell from gold 2 to silver 4. So
yeah, yes. So it's there's luck involved in the game, and it's anybody that says difference lying to you. They're trying to sell you something. Prayers for decent teammates too. Good luck, Lady Werewolf. If you're playing today, Black Oil Rose. Same to you. You couldn't last night. No, don't. Yeah, you're forgiven. Hey, we'll have you on, dude. Don't worry about it. So maybe we'll let you know if you guys stay tuned to the Discord. Join the Discord if you haven't already for updates, so that we can recruit you. We'll be in your DMs, Doc or Demand, or if you're lucky, the both of us.
ooh, we can both slide in those DMs, baby.
At the same time, we'll be recruiting people for the Bronze All Stars. Again, it'll be solo duos only until until further notice going forward, because it's going to be difficult to get you fair games if we do flex. So it's only one or two people, preferably in another opposite lane, so we have more interesting things to laugh at. But we respect the support mains and the ADC mains. So if y'all want to do that, that's fine too. But without further ado, let's talk about the spooks, Demand. Are you ready?
I am ready. I just want to say once again, thank you, Metal Gear Greed. Thank you, Big Jugs, from the Tig Old Biddies. Metal Greed for those subby wubbies. I'm not going to say that again.
We're going to be doing wheel spins. Much love to each and every one of y'all that can and has donated. We got the wheel. We got more wheel spins. Let's do one after this video plays. And we already
got everything on this bad boy.
You're disgusting, man. That's awesome.
I had all day to set it up. Don't worry.
Well, we've got lots of stuff planned for y'all, but let's have a discussion about this.
All right.
Let's see what y'all think about full disclosure. Ex-CIA operative. Let's hear his take on why there has yet to have been disclosures. Any way I can get a Discord stream at all, Demand. If not, that's fine too.
Of course, my brother.
We're gonna mute up until then.
Oh, mute up. Sorry.
Yeah, we're muting up. Enjoy this. Let's hear your thoughts on this.
I've had people
Without further ado, Demand.
who I know are in the know, and I've mentioned this before, and one of them told me the truth is indigestible. It's not something that we would be able to fully grasp or entertain, and that it's like, it would be like telling somebody something that they can't do anything about, and they don't know what the repercussions of that would be. It's so great. It's so world-changing and transformational, and maybe not in a good way, so.
I mean, what could be so jarring? What could be so disruptive? I mean, bless you. Like the idea that we're being visited by another advanced intelligence that's more advanced than us. I mean, do you think, or is it something else?
I think it's much deeper than that. Lou once mentioned to me, we were chatting about this, and I asked Lou one day what he thought, and he drew a Venn diagram, on a board, and and in the middle of the Venn, was, well, one side was consciousness and the other side was quantum theory. And the shaded part in the middle, he said, that's probably where this is. And when you think about that, what are the two things we really don't know all that much about, or that, could be extraordinarily scary? And consciousness, is it local or is it, non-local? If it's not local, not produced by the brain or the body or the mind, it really means that there is a universal consciousness that we're part of, that we're tapping into. Quantum theory, in the very early days of quantum theory in the 20s and 30s, most of the people who grasped what it actually meant was that we're immaterial, that we're basically an illusion, and that atoms in general, we've come to find this to be true, are just basically invisible. There's no matter there, and that that where just energy forms. Well, think about that for a second. if that's the case, how would the president describe that? How would the president go on national television and say, maybe he tried to do a controlled, and I'm sure, and I know they've thought about this, and I know they thought about ways to do this, and they never can come to any kind of agreement, and they always come to the agreement that it's probably best not to say anything until we have a better understanding. But what the hell do you say? I mean, you come out and you say, there's another presence in the universe which visits us, and we don't understand it, but it's capable of transforming itself into anything it wants to do. It can manipulate matter. It can manipulate the electromagnetic spectrum. It can show us things that may be real or may not be real. It can be real and not real at the same time. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. And then this whole idea of sovereignty comes in, free will comes in. And then you're worried about, will society be able to withstand it? Socioeconomically, what will happen? Will things stop religiously? There are so many aspects surrounding this. I'm sure people have whispered in some people's ears, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to go out and talk about this publicly? Do you have any kind of fallback position when people start asking the million questions they're going to have, and you're basically saying we're powerless against a entity or entities that are here, we can't see, we have no idea of their intentions and capabilities. It may mean that we're just immaterial. I mean, you can get into, there's so many avenues, and then what does that open up? I mean, it's a conversation that's been going on now recently, with the power of the presidency, and where that lies. What the president can do, what the president can't do. I remember back when President Trump first became president, he was at a news conference, and he was talking about, you wouldn't believe the powers I have, and he kept going on about it, and the powers I have, and what I can do, and I think he was absolutely bowled over by what he has the power to do outside of Congress and the judicial branch. In other words, there's this unitary executive theory that's out there, about what the role the president has, particularly in extraordinary circumstances. I don't think anything is more extraordinary and more potentially dangerous than the knowledge that there is a non-human intelligence or intelligences out there that have the capability to read your mind, come into your house, threaten the idea of sovereignty, free will. How the hell do you throw this concept that, let's just say, it's a combination of quantum theory, like Lou said, it probably could be, and consciousness, two of the grandest problems that we have. I mean, in physics, and in neuroscience, and we can't wrap our arms around it. How the hell do you throw that out there? And it's like this big old meatball hanging out there, right? And you're asking people, who are consumed with their daily life. You know what it's like. You got a family, you know what I mean? You get up, you got a job, you got to do all this kind of stuff, and then somebody throws this huge thing at you and says, "Oh, by the way, we're not alone in the universe, and these other entities have godlike powers compared to us, can pretty much do what the hell they want, when they want, and we have no idea what the hell they're doing and why they're doing it." And they tell us stories. They tell us what? Two stories. They always tell us it's the environment and it's the nuclear problem, right? Those are the only two stories we hear. We don't hear about where humans came from. We don't hear about where they came from. They always say to people, well, you wouldn't understand, right? You wouldn't understand. So we can't get into that. Is that real? Is that not real? Are they 100 years more advanced than we are? Are they, possibly 3 or 4 million years more advanced than we are? Are they, an ultra-terrestrial race that, lives on the planet with us, but maybe in another time dimension, that maybe they're vibrating a little bit faster than we are, so we can't really see them.
Interesting. I'm vibrating
So,
right now, Doc. Can you see me?
I could. I definitely can't milk you. That's for sure, dude. I'm gonna be real with you, dude.
Yeah, you
I
can.
love this because this is something that I feel like we don't really go into a lot, or that people don't really want to
Quantum
talk
theory?
about. Because no, I'm talking about disclosure for the government. Let's say that the president knows that one or all or even more horrific versions of this reality are true, right? Regardless of who the president will be or is. That's immaterial, right? The point is like, how do you explain this, right? President demand like comes out, and do you, right? It's not just everybody's like, give us disclosure, give us full disclosure, are aliens real? And it's like, no, in fact, aliens aren't real. You're not real. You don't exist. You're simply a manifestation of a higher power or entity. And you know what I'm saying? What if the reality of disclosure is more horrific than we thought? Because everyone thinks it's just aliens. It's like aliens are real, but what if it's crazier than that, right? What if it's insane, like this guy says? What if the reality of the situation is that, you know, everything that we understand brings into question reality itself and free will and things of that nature, and whether our existence is real, and would that actually upend society? Because here's my take: if aliens are real, I always said the same thing. It does nothing. Nothing happens if it's just an alien.
Nothing
right?
changes.
Nothing changes. You still got to wake up tomorrow and go to work. You still got to
Yeah.
pay bills. People aren't going to panic. People aren't going to freak out. But what if reality isn't real? What if we have strong factual evidence to dictate that what we're looking at, what we're seeing, what we're feeling, what we're in front of isn't real? What does that do to society, right? That changes the dynamic, and that's why I really like this, because I never thought about that before, right? What if the truth is actually more horrific than little green men flying around in saucers in outer space? What if outer space doesn't exist, right? And Metal Gear Greed brought up a interesting topic. He said, isn't the basic dumbed down version of quantum theory is that nothing exists until the moment of observation, right? And that's akin to exactly what it is, right? Like quantum theory shows that something changes when it's being observed, right? Like on a molecular level, which doesn't make any sense. How could something be one way or the other depending on whether you're looking at it or not? What does that say, right? Like, I lack the intelligence or the ability or the education to quantify that. But what does that do? Like, what does that even mean? And I mean, we don't really know. Even the smartest minds are still working on that kind of idea, right?
Right.
Oh,
Does-
Metal Gear. Go ahead.
I was going to say that doesn't that tie into your, and we did a campfire story on this actually a while back ago, that your perception isn't based upon facts, it's based upon your opinion and your own like summary of details. And
Yes.
that could be fiction even. And there's been proven articles in psychology where someone's perception is completely off. And one extreme example is this chick went to was assigned to an insane asylum because her husband and her child got into a horrific car accident and it mentally broke her. And so she went into her own little psyche, her own little world where her husband was still alive and her child was still alive, and they had tea parties every day, and she would talk to them, but they weren't really there to everyone else but her. But her reality is true to her, but not true to everyone else. So that right there is saying that reality is what you make it, what you perceive it as, and what you perceive isn't always facts.
Right. And so you're saying, yeah, so to her, that even though it wasn't real, like her perception of it to her absolutely was. Hold
And
on,
it
we got an
felt real
ad
to
break
her.
incoming in. Right. We'll be right back here in a minute. So we're on a commercial break right now. We're going to pause for everybody who's not subscribed if we can. We're going to keep talking about this, but Demand brings up a good point, man. That's a really good point, dude. Like, how if it's real to you, it's insanely real to you. Like how real? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like what even is reality? What does that even say about reality? Right? I mean, schizophrenic people see people all the time that aren't really
Aren't
there,
there.
but they're, which is can't even imagine like what that would be like.
But that's their reality, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like to them,
right.
they're very real, and they can talk to you, and they can influence your mind, but they can't
Yeah.
influence anyone else. Can you imagine
No.
something that is so real to you, right? And it
Right.
influences the way you feel, the way you think, but no one else can see it or hear it. That would drive you insane because you can't prove it, but it's very real to you.
Oh, that would be a freaking nightmare. And then if they give you this little pill, you let your little buddies just disappear and go away. Like people that you've been talking to, people that you've been interacting with, they just disappear.
Just
It's
disappear.
like, here you go. Take your pill so your family disappears. You imagine that? Like people you talk to and like have conversation with and know that aren't real, and then they give you a pill and those people just fade away and disappear. I don't know.
That would destroy
That's-
your
we need
psyche,
to-
in my opinion. That would
that
would do some
make me
damage to your
crazier.
mental.
I feel like it. I feel like that would make me crazier, like legitimately crazier. Like I'm telling you, I don't even know. But I enjoy the conversation because it brings up a better question, right? Like and an ethical question. If you know some of these horrific things could possibly be true, like what do you do, right? Because I like Metal Gear disagrees. He thinks that aliens be confirmed would cause a global crisis. I would say I
Were
tend to
aliens
agree
confirmed, though?
momentarily. I mean, yes and no. There's no actual proof. There's like evidence of things, but then everybody thinks the government's lying. Okay, ad breaks over. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Man Show, Campfire Stories. We're still talking about the nature of reality and the ethical dilemma of full disclosure. Basically, the government, president, who, what have you, coming out and saying, these horrific realities are possibly true, and we have evidence, and what that would do to society. And again, I do wonder. In my opinion, I feel like if it was just aliens, I just feel like at first there might be a stock market, dip, maybe even a crash, but I feel like we would recover and everybody would sort of go on with their lives because it's not something that people generally have interactions with, right? But what if it was something worse, right? Like, what if it was something way worse? What if it's an entity that can interact with everyone on the planet, kind of like Demen was saying, at will? We don't know what it wants. We don't know what it can do, but basically, as far as we can see and observe anything, it can warp our reality, warp our time space at any time, blow up the planet for all we know, right? And what is the ethical dilemma of telling people that reality, right? What do people do?
People break
Now that's
down.
crazier, right? I feel like that might actually cause some severe damage to people mentally, and some people, as it is, already are on the edge. Like now you're telling them they have no free will potentially, and that there's a creature or an entities out in the universe that have infinite godlike powers that can do, things we've only barely been able to begin to imagine, right? Like, what do you do with that information as being a fact and being released?
But
So,
oh man, see the problem with that is it would cause a fanatic. It'd probably cause the rise of a new religion, right? Because at that point in time, you would want to appease these godlike beings or entities or entity, right? To ensure
would, yeah.
that we have benevolence upon our life, upon our planet. Because at that point in time, we would have no control. We'd be slaves to the system of whatever the entity wanted. But if we don't know what the entity wants, then we just have to guess. And if we guess wrong,
Right.
guess what? That entity could place whatever it wants upon you. It could give you gout. It could give you whatever it wanted to. But
No.
it could also take away. Like I've seen cancer patients get their cancer removed the next day, and the doctors are baffled.
Yeah.
There's been multiple studies and multiple
miraculously.
cases of that where the doctor's just like, "Hey, you're cancer free. It was stage 4, and we don't know how it disappeared."
yeah. Right? like the proof of angels, demons, gods, God himself, herself, whatever you want to say. Metal Gear says witness testimony is 50-50 because mind alters like what you see, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know you're not crazy or you're not being interacted with by these entities, right? Does that not, if that, let's, oh my God, that's great, Metal Gear. What if people aren't crazy? They're just being acted upon by entities, like warping and changing their perception or reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, like the CIA operative, Jim Semivan, he talked about that. He was like, what if, and you won't be able to see them if they vibrate at a different resonance, just slightly off, like things can be invisible to the human eye, right?
There's a lot of things
surrounded
invisible to the human eye, actually.
Exactly. There could be creatures or entities in the room with you right now, behind me, on camera, with demand. You would never be able to see them, with our limited human perception, right? With our vision, like, and they could influence our realities. What does that do for mental illness if something like that was to come out? Like, what do you even do with that, right?
Bring back mental institutions.
Right? But like, you couldn't even hold these people potentially. Like, it could get crazier or worse. Maybe these entities are just allowing our reality to persist as it is momentarily in a break, right? What if all of the wild fantastical stories that were in the Bible or ancient writings, what if like all of those things are true, right? In a perception or in reality that was warped or put upon by an entity we cannot control or even perceive. Kiwi says, I thought they came out with disclosure about aliens during the pandemic, and the world was like, okay, bro, and carrying on life. Yeah, they kind of did say that they stopped short of being like aliens are real, but they said that UFO phenomenon was real. That the UFOs are real. We don't know what they are, and we're not in control of them. And that's all that basically was said. And people were like, it's true, like aliens are real. It's like, that's not what they said. Not completely.
But the fighter pilot that did like the Tic Tac thing came out as like, yeah, the aliens are real, essentially, because they were the Tic Tac was something that could not be explained in our current technology when it comes to aerodynamics and thermal fusion or whatever. It was moving at a rate that no other jet or plane or whatever could move at. So that right there is proof enough when we have an actual military fighter pilot that comes out and says it. So I'm with Doc when I think the society just wouldn't care. There'd be a few frigid groups that would definitely care, but listen, society doesn't stop. Like they're not invading us. There's just proof that they exist.
Yet.
And so we have to work. We have to make money. Bills keep going. Like the government still wants its taxes, aliens or no. So
True.
Nothing will happen, I think, until they actually start invading.
Right. Like so that my point is this, like they come out tomorrow and they're like, little green men are real, aliens are real. Like, I mean, my argument is I still have to pay my rent. Right, the bank is still going to foreclose on my house and take my house from my wife and I, take my computer, and I'm going to be like this hairy guy, like the legendary monkey man on the street, right? Like scratching my ass. Rachel LeMaria, wealthier, better looking, more hung guy than myself, and I'll be alone. And that's my reality, right? Like that's the truth. Like I am at the mercy of that reality, and it doesn't change just because aliens are real, right? Like that doesn't mean anything. Like Demand says, until they start blasting buildings and stuff, then things would change. But if things were to continue on and just the knowledge of that would change, I'm not exactly sure what would happen. But I have a strong feeling, at least in the majority of people would. All right, we'll read it. Yeah, we'll read his comment 1 second. I believe the reality is that people would go back, to their normal lives shortly after. Most people would. It would cause some people to break down, question religion. It would cause schisms. Probably, like Demand said, new religions would be created, to try to appease whatever these things or entities are. But like the crops still have to be farmed. You still have to have dinner tonight and the next day, right? You're still got to go to work and pay your bills. Like the bank's not going to be like, oh, aliens are real. I guess debt free, college for everybody. Like that's not going to happen,
No.
right? So your reality doesn't really change, your day-to-day reality, right? Like people in third world countries, they still got to try to find food. They still have to try to, you still got to find shelter. You still have
Just
to
gotta walk 5
take
miles to
care
get
of
water. Like,
yeah, right? Like, right, Kybers?
yeah.
Got him. Got him. So that's only my argument. And I'm not saying that there wouldn't be some breakdown. I believe that. But in a total upending of society, I would question, unless the reality of full disclosure was crazier than we imagined. Right?
Something that we can't tangible wrap our brains around.
Something so wild that you can't really perceive it, and then for Joe Biden or Donald Trump to come out with his little briefs and throw down a file and be like, nothing's real, like this is a simulation, dude.
People would lose their mind.
I feel like people would lose their mind. Lawlessness might very well take over.
Society
And that's
would break
my second
down.
question. I'm going to ask the second question. Correct. So in that situation, I agree with what Metal Gear said. I don't think little green men would cause it, but finding out a more horrific truth would, in my personal opinion. And so let's you go ahead and read Metal Gear, or not Metal Gear, but Eternity's comment, and then I'm going to ask a second question. Everybody else's comments, and I'll ask a second, more fun question.
Ew. Eternity said, remember the island of uncontacted humans? The guys from North Sentinel Island that shot bows at our boats and our planes?
Yes.
He didn't say planes, but they did shoot out the helicopters. I'm sure their life hasn't changed much after shooting arrows at technology that's 2,000 years above their own. It's true.
Yeah.
Like,
They
they
still
just
went back to
to
harvesting like kumquats or whatever.
we're
the hell
essentially
they were
gods
doing
compared
before.
to them.
Yeah, and they saw the technology, but they were just like, back to the fields, back
gotta
to the
eat.
jungles. You gotta eat, exactly. And so that was my argument. But a crazier, greater, more invasive truth might cause some sort of schism, in my opinion. But Metal Gear said, let's talk about the likelihood of aliens on Earth sometime. You know what? We'll pull you in, man, sometime, and we will have that conversation. Campfire Stories is all about that, dude. Metal, that's a good conversation. And what we should do, because we have yet to talk about it. There's a lot of people that believe in lizard men and gray and different types of mole men. We need to get into that, because that's something that a lot of people believe in. We've never talked about that.
New York has
on
real
Campfire
moment.
Stories. They do. You've seen them, haven't you, Jiggy? FNAO says military already said the UFOs are real and no one cared. That's exactly what Kiwi said back a few comments ago. That they actually confirmed there's UFOs are real. We don't know what they are. They're not ours. And everybody was like, meh.
It's
Not
true.
sure.
Like, no one really cared.
Yeah, not sure what the holdup is since it got buried, and we care more about who Trump banged. I mean, that's more interesting and more fun to talk about. I think
It's more tangible, I think, to talk about.
I think so. Yeah. Because UFO doesn't always mean aliens, says Metal Gear.
also
Joe
true.
Biden, these nuts. My point is, it's like, what if the truth is worse than that, though, right? What if the actual full disclosure is worse? So if y'all missed the video we played, there's a former CIA officer, Jim Semivan, on Disclosure. If you want to watch, it's about 7 minutes long. I'm going to go ahead and link it to y'all.
Or
right
you just
now.
watch the X-Files.
Or just watch the X-Files. Yeah, that's just good enough. There it is. Put it in there twice, 3 times is a charm. And this guy basically talks about, what if the reality of full disclosure is something more horrific than just aliens, right? What if reality isn't reality, right? What if you don't exist? What if you have no free will? What if we're in a simulation, right? Does that change things? Potentially, I think a little bit worse, but I think a more fun question than postulating is this question, Demand. Would you, President Demand, unleash full disclosure if you knew it was a horrific reality beyond what we've been talking about that could potentially upend society as we know it? Would you do it?
It's a hard question to answer.
You have the floor.
That's
I mean, it is. It is.
because on one end, if you don't, then you're not being completely transparent in your presidency. And as a president, you're elected by the people for the people, right? Supposedly. And speaking about 5 miles for water.
A rain.
What's up,
Demand
Iris?
make fun of your country, Iris.
Doc made fun of your country first. I did no such thing.
We're fighting. Man, welcome, Kybers. Thank you so much
up,
for the
Eddie?
raid. Really appreciate you, dude. We're talking about the... Y'all are bombing us. Here we go, dude.
What are you gonna do?
Here we
Have
go.
like
He's
40,000
about to-
people just throw missiles at us? Like what? You don't have a launch site?
Oh, God. That shit's so funny, dude. All right. So, really appreciate that raid, dude. Thank you so much. Hold on. Let's shout this man out. Y'all got to follow his tree. This guy's hilarious. I knew he was about to TOS or say something crazy, dude.
I love that man. He's so funny.
He owes us one. He actually is amazing. So, President Demand, you didn't say yes or no, sir. I'm gonna ask you again, sir. Would you indeed give full disclosure, yes or no? And I'm gonna ask chat. Full disclosure. Did you tell people aliens are real? Reality's not real.
I think
There's
if
no
I
such
did that,
thing.
I think I would lose the ability to be a president at that point in time, because
You
society
think
would
you-
break down and we wouldn't have the because if you told everyone that reality isn't real, right?
Yes.
And when you say something so controversial, so outlandish, you'd separate the populace, and you'd have two camps, right? Camps that believe you fully, and then camps that are like, this is stupid, this is dumb. And I definitely wouldn't get a second term, 100%. At that point in time, you can't really remain as a president. You can't, like, society would break down to the point where, like, nothing's real, then the president doesn't matter, and we could do whatever we want. So morals would break down. There'd be no law. And so if you did say that, I would be ruining myself. But if I didn't say that,
Right.
I would be lying to the people that I promised to tell the truth to.
Yeah, true. And I feel like I honestly believe that that's what a lot of presidents have done, right? Like if anyone was excited to give full disclosure, it would have been Donald Trump in his first. I was so excited. I was like, this dude's gonna be a maniac, and he found out a lot of the information. He did. In fact, he was quoted as saying he knew more information about the JFK assassination, but as of yet was not ready to release or talk about it because it would potentially upend the fabric of our
society,
our republic, right? So,
and not just us, the world, right?
Yeah. So it's like it feels like there's truths out there that, like you said, maybe too horrific and damaging to. I mean, obviously your re-election effort, but also potentially
and future re-election efforts at all in general.
Right.
My final answer is I would tell them.
Okay, because I started to say, hold on, let's change it though. Let's take the self-preservation out of it. You've had 2 full terms, the end of your full terms. You just dropping the bomb and walking out, mic drop.
Such a
That's
hard
the question. Are you dropping the bomb? Like now you're not in the equation anymore, chat.
Still,
would you do it if you were president? Would you give full disclosure? Would you tell people the more horrific truths? And again, to be very specific, I know I've said it multiple times. We're talking about telling everybody there's aliens. What if what they're hiding from us is worse, right? What if, they know that this reality we're in is not real? Would you something horrible like that? Or worse yet, there's entities that have godlike powers that can control us, manipulate us, and we have no idea what their motivations are. We have no clue what they want or what their level of ability is, but it's supernatural in nature. Would you do it? Metal Gear Greedy? Oh, Metal Gear Greed's actually. Oh, you would slowly trick. Yo, so you would boil the frog.
I would boil
the.
the frog because I believe anything, no matter what it is, like even if it's UFOs, I think I think that's what they're doing right now with UFOs is slowly trickling out information. Is I would slowly disclose it over time and get people acclimated to it. So, because like my job as a presidency, technically, would be to ensure that our people have growth, right? Our GDP goes up, our economy goes up, our health goes up, things like that. Because you're for the people at the end of the day. And so I would slowly trickle it in because then at that point in time, they can't say that I've been withholding information just in case if there was a leak, right?
Right.
And I believe that would be the best course of action as a presidency if you find, like, if I was president and I found out nothing mattered, bro, that would destroy me. And that would explain why all presidencies age rapidly over 4 years.
They come out, they come in and they're like, we're going to change the world. We're going to do all these great things. And they leave and they're like gray-headed, with Parkinson's.
Knowledge you know how they say ignorance is bliss? Well, knowledge is suffering. So having all that knowledge as a president, like if you look at Joe Biden at the very beginning, he was competent. He knew how to speak properly. And then now the dude's just like, poop myself. Obama's the same way. George Bush the same way. If you look at all the past presidencies and you see between that 4-year term, Obama had a full head of hair. It wasn't gray. And then in the 4 years, bro, he had gray hair. He had bags under his eyes. He held a lot of information because you get all the information as a presidency just in case if things go crazy, you have this information at hand. And I believe a slow trickle would be the best course of action.
Right. I feel like, so for those of you who don't know what Demand's saying is it's a concept known as boiling the frog. And I can give you an example, and this is a campfire story in and of itself. So the idea is this. If you drop a live frog into boiling water, it's gonna jump out, right? Like it's too much change in temperature variation instantaneously, right? It will, burned and injured, it'll still leap away. But if you put a frog in lukewarm water, right, like something it's or closer to its habitat, it will sit there, and as you slowly turn heat up, it will eventually boil and die. It won't realize it's being slowly cooked. It won't realize it's being changed. And the best example of this is the eBay logo. I don't know if y'all have ever heard the story or not, but back some years ago. Yeah, right. Back some years ago, the original eBay logo was instantly changed to this disgusting, like, white background thing that I believe that it is today, or that it was recently, right? And people basically rioted. They were insanely upset. They took to the forums. They lambasted eBay. How dare you change this logo to something disgusting, horrible, and evil, and awful to look at? And so eBay changed it back to what it originally was. Well, guess what they did? Every single 3 to 6 months to something of that nature, they adjusted the hue of the background and slow gradients again and again and again and again until finally it was that disgusting white background, ugly ass logo that everybody hated, and they did it so slow nobody noticed and nobody complained. And that's how they do it. And so that's what Demand is saying you need to do. And I mean, obviously you can use that to fuel all different kinds of conspiracy theories going forward, right? That potentially a lot of things are being trickled out so that you're slowly boiling the frog before when you finally release the truth in its entirety, people are already used to it. Like slowly. And so maybe that is what they're doing, and maybe that is the wisest that's the wisest solution. But I do wonder to myself, what what you all think should happen, and maybe you can put that in the comment section or chat it out right now. What you would do with your godlike powers if you were president? Full disclosure, all in. Let the chips fall where they may. I kind of agree with the man. Me personally, if I'm answering my own question, I would definitely boil the frog. I would feel like people need to be told the truth. I am a huge fan of the truth, so I think that eventually, people need to know, and I feel like they're going to find out anyways, aren't they not?
I mean, conspiracy theorists have been right for at least a decade now. So
Yeah,
I wouldn't bet against them.
right. Right. So it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. So it's a political question, but again, it's something that, is a little bit deeper. And maybe that'll think about next time somebody talks about full disclosure and they say, well, I wish they would just tell us that aliens are real. Maybe it's not even that simple. Maybe reality is something more horrific than you could possibly imagine, or the potential of reality. Maybe quantum physics goes deeper than any of us have ever realized, and we start to realize that the truth of the matter is that potentially nothing we do matters, right? Or we have no free will, or very little control over our reality. And human beings, I feel like, as a whole, really do enjoy their control. I feel like we all want to believe that we're in control of ourselves, of our ideas, of our thoughts, and maybe that's not exactly the case, right? And if that was the case, what would they do to the criminal justice system, for instance?
Oh, it'd get flooded.
Right.
Judges would just do whatever they wanted.
If you were if there were entities influencing you, if you realized the demonic possession demand was 100% proven and real and an irrefutable fact.
It is by the Catholic Church, but
but how could you ever be prosecuted for anything again? You could always just say demons were influenced me. It wasn't me. You can't blame me for doing this horrific thing. It was the demons that we all know are real, that are not a fantasy. Like, it would tear society to shreds, in my opinion. And so, but if it's real, I mean, shouldn't people know?
Didn't they come out with a video that had 3 stars that had mega structures around them? And then those 3 stars, they were saying that those were Dyson spheres. And I don't know if chat knows about the ranking of civilizations, but we're barely a rank 1 civilization, right? Barely.
Yeah.
Because rank 1 civilization is able to control their weather and all that on their own planet and harness the power.
They
But
did, yeah.
rank 2 civilizations have the power, or have the ability to harness power from their suns and their solar systems.
Or their
And
closest
so
stars,
what if a rank 2 civilization is the entities, and then they have the that's rank 3? Okay, so what if they have the power and the ability? What if it's not even like an entity that is like a godlike entity? What if it's just a civilization that has their own thoughts that have been projecting? Like, what if we're just a science experiment to a higher civilization?
Right.
What if they found that out? What if we're just guinea pigs?
Destin has a good take. I was waiting for somebody to say that. Some things are just best left a secret. Just leave it alone, right? Just let humanity continue like as we've been continuing. Like, you're right. Like, if that's a reality demand, if that's truth, like, I mean, would it be better not to know?
It would age me in 4 years. I'd look like I would look like Donald Trump or Joe Biden, 100%. I'd be like,
yes, it's like Metal Gear says, so it's like Earth is like a reality TV show for these guys. Yes.
I mean, Earth
Yes,
is
it's
a reality
like
TV show for us, so who wouldn't want to like watch us, right? Because it's so fascinating. If you're like a higher civilization, right? We love watching, like, we're so fascinated with monkeys and anteaters and, oh, they're using sticks and tools and all that. Oh, they're using AKs. Oh, they're using primitive copper bullets. Oh, that's so crazy. Let's influence them to have more wars. Let's influence them to have crises. Let's see what they do with this. This time on Earth television, let's find out what's going on in the United States. Oh, they're electing the Orange Man again. Oh, they're electing Poopy Pants Biden again. Like, it's insane, bro. Absolutely insane.
Show me what you got. Show me what you got.
Yeah, shit on the floor. I'm Mr. Bulldog.
It's actually what it is, dude. That's legitimately what it is. I mean, potentially Earth is in disastrous peril, but I mean, maybe these entities aren't as evil or benevolent as we take them to be. Maybe they are just observed and maybe demand. Maybe, just maybe, the threat isn't from a Dyson sphere level 3 civilization or whatever the case may be, as we think it might be. Maybe the actual true threat is under our feet. Didn't, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe you can elucidate, Demand, a little bit about what you know. Didn't something happen in Yellowstone fairly recently?
Yeah, Yellowstone is primed to explode at any moment.
Wait a minute, that's an outlandish claim, Demand. What is your evidence? There's no video proof of anything such as this. In fact, we got an ad break in 1 minute, so we're gonna take a quick break and probably spin the wheel during this ad.
No. We're fine.
And we'll be right back after these sponsored messages, in which we'll be 3 cents richer if everybody sticks around. You hear that? They will give us 3 cents on the dime. Somehow they're allowed to pay us less than a penny. Seems criminal to me because there's no denomination less than a penny in
Dong.
Yeah, and then in America, you don't get paid. Twitch is located in America. We don't get paid in dong here.
Well, isn't Amazon headquarters located in China? So and Chinese have like the Chinese dong.
Yeah, exactly. What are we getting paid in Venezuelan dollars? Wait,
Right.
false. Twitch is not located here.
I think
We'll
the
be right
servers
back.
are located here, but all right, pop up the wheel. Actually, so we have new goals,
Tell 'em, Demand.
and we've already met all of our new goals. We're just gonna go over them real quick. $25,
Let's do it.
which we already met. We
did
get
it.
the recipe video. We have new recipes that you can vote for. Yesterday we voted for the pasta salad. Today we have 3 more videos to choose from that you get to see that I get to cook for you. And then we have the horror music rotation / lights out. So when we get to the horror game segment of this stream, the ring light will lower to the point where you could see my face, but I assure you, it will be very dark in my room. Because guess what it looks like without the ring light? Are you guys ready to see this?
Hold on, wait a minute. Twitch is based in Tuva. Oh my God, Tuvalu? I don't even know what that is. Is that a real place?
What is
Is that
it?
how they can pay? What is that?
Tuvula.
What is that?
That's something. That's like a female reproductive organ.
We got a
So
golf stream coming up to be announced. Are y'all ready for that? My wife will be doing my makeup. Demand will be on his own. I'm sure his is going to be epic.
yep,
dude.
I'm
Y'all
sure
ready
I
for the
have
golf
white
stream?
paint somewhere.
I'm going to have that.
Get lead poisoning.
Oh man, I can't wait for the goth stream, dude. So everything you noticed, just like the first episode of the show-a-thon was League of Legends oriented. This one is horror or goth themed. So stay tuned. We will be announcing the goth stream shortly as we go forward. And of course, you don't forget, you unlock the next show for tomorrow, dude.
What's tomorrow's
It's
show,
a thing of
Docs? They
beauty.
already unlocked it.
Tomorrow, grab your popcorn, grab your blankets, grab your butter flavored topping.
Grab your burnt
We're
toast
doing
plushie.
Your burnt toast plushie to cuddle up, your hoodie, your favorite onesie, whatever you got. It is movie night, ladies and gentlemen. We are going in. We're going to watch all of our favorite non-copyrighted, copyright striked movies and TV shows live on
What's your
Twitch.
favorite
Oh, you'll find out tomorrow, my brother. You'll find out tomorrow. And we'll also be doing a commercial apocalypse in between. It's gonna be great, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna love it. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna be roasting. We're gonna be laughing, cutting up, watching all the crazy shenanigans that people made back in the day. It's just gonna be excellent. If you love Mystery Science Theater, you're gonna love this. The show-a-thon continues tomorrow with movie night, movie themed, all brand new movie themed. What is it? Goals and of course your favorite and mine, the Wheel of Immorality.
Da 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 da.
Wheel of Immorality.
All right.
All
We
right,
have-
Commander, you ready?
Hold on.
Oh, we got a bonus. Bonus
five
spin, Shio.
spins.
Okay, we got 5 spins.
6 spins.
Plus Shio. Yeah, plus Shio's bonus, so 6 total.
6 total.
Are you all ready? Let's
I'm
see
not.
what we got to do. Oh, you're not ready?
No.
We're about to see what we got to do, ladies and gentlemen, and then it's back to the campfire stories. A momentary break, if you please.
That's not right.
Okay.
Thomas the
You
Tank
got the-
Engine. Why do I have Thomas the Tank Engine on just a random monitor? What the? Anyways. We are ready to spin the wheel, Doc.
Without further ado, demand. Spin that wheel in 3, 2, 1. Spin it.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got.
I hope it's not workout. I don't want to put on a shirt yet.
Oh, it's a inconvenient truth,
Inconvenient
man.
Truth. It's my turn now.
And
actually.
you're up, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get back to Campfire Stories, Demand is an open book. He will answer an inconvenient truth selected in chat. Ask your questions right now. Anything you want to know about Demand, he will answer to 100% correctitude. He does reserve the right to deny any overtly personal questions or TOS content as God intended. All right, Shio immediately breaking the rules instantaneously.
Instantaneously.
Black Oro says, is it bubblegum pink or roast beef brown? I've always wanted to know. What are your pronouns, says Metal Gear Green? We got some spicy questions. Anybody else? We're gonna leave it open for a little bit more before Demand selects his Eternity's laughing, immediately getting laughing as Shio disqualifies himself.
I just want to give out a shout out to Shio real quick because Shio is at least consistent in his shenanigans. You know, like at no point in time does Shio just walk and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? How's your day going?" No, he goes like, "I like duck penis," like.
Every time, dude. Eternity says, what is your opinion of Comstat in the police?
You know what? That's actually a really good question, Journey. Can you explain what Comstat is?
You can hear him looking it up.
Yeah. You know what? I will answer Attorney's question if he explains in like too long didn't read Comstat. But Metal Gear Greed, I actually used to do that back in the day. So, no.
Will you manage my OF?
No, I used to be a internet pimp way back in the day.
Way back in the day?
But I like Eternity's question. If he explained, it's actually comp stat, but basically it's like the stats of police officers. It's how many arrests they get, tickets they give out, etc. I am actually against that because if police officers have to meet a quota, I believe that gives them an incentive to plant things on you, to write script. Because there was, I believe there was a court, it was either a court TV show or something like that, where the officer was on trial as a witness and a testimony against the person who just wrote what the textbook said, right? He had bloodshot eyes. He was slurring his speech, and he was, stumbling, right? What the textbook says of like a drunk driving. And so the lawyer was like, "Are you?" Yeah. So the lawyer was like, "Are you sure he had bloodshot eyes in both eyes and all that?" And the lawyer just kept on going, talking about his eyes, and then the dude literally pulled out his glass eye. I was like, "This eye was bloodshot? Are you sure about that?" And the policeman was
Are you
like,
sure about
"Oh."
that?
And so I believe they need to have a new system. I'm not knowledgeable to create this new system, but I do believe that they should have a new system that's not based upon merits, that's not or that's based upon different merits, right? Something that, you know, allows them to not have quotas and not set these goals. Like, guys, we need to have at least 30 arrests in the month of June, or we need to pull over an XYZ amount of people, this, that, and the other. I believe they should have a different merit system and a different look at how they have things in place, right? Get comp stamp.
Back to Campfire Stories, ladies and gentlemen. Demand made outlandish claims before the break and before the wheel. How dare he? He dares to insinuate that there's a potential that the Yellowstone Caldera will erupt again.
Any
Insane,
moment.
Man. Any proof you have for this?
Hold on, let me check if Morgul's here,
please.
Oh, he's not. All right, we can play this video.
All right, do it.
Shout out, Morgul.
Shout out.
All right, so we're just gonna play it.
What do you got, man?
What I have is a
just play
explosion at Yellowstone National Park.
Lies.
All right, well, you'll see it heading in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
Run!
Yeah, run.
Run!
Wow. Or are people just standing there? What the f...
She
Where are you running?
Holy.
Eternity.
That's insane. Imagine you were standing right there and it just exploded. You're gone. You get Lieutenant Dan.
No, that's literally what Eternity said. You can't outrun pyroclastic flow, bitch, because tourists are stupid. Oh, dude, imagine if I wheeled myself up to that. Like imagine.
I'd pick you out of the wheelchair and I'd carry you on my back and just like fireman carry you out.
Like Forrest Gump did Bubba and
100%, dude. I'd be like, I wouldn't even second guess it. I wouldn't be like, Doc, prepare yourself. I would literally grab your hoodie, rip you out of the chair, and just put you on my shoulders, and I would just start running.
And just charge. For some reason, I've got a gun and I'm like shooting behind us. For some reason, to kneecap some of the other tourists in case the pyroclastic flow is attacking.
We don't have to outrun the pyroclastic flow. We just have to outrun you. Pow, pow, pow. Your dead bodies will serve as a barrier.
As our entity overlords have deemed necessary. This is insane. Let me look and see. Hold on. Was there any information exactly where this was? Because I know this is in Yellowstone. Like, that wasn't like that wasn't let me grab a thingy here. Hold on. I see you, Eternity. We're gonna get you here in just 1 minute and bring you in. You're up next, baby, right after this story. We get in here. Where's the...
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for Eternity, because Eternity is actually going to be, like, super spooky. It was super spooky to me, because it's like, real. Like, it's not just like, oh, it might not be real. No, it is proven. And I'll leave it up to Eternity if you want to keep all names anonymous by using, like, Cheryl or Danny or anything like that. Oh, Mortadell, hey, what's up, buddy?
There he is. There he is. Metal Gear Greed says, yeah, we just shouted you out, more to do. Metal Gear Greed said it was just a geyser that had eroded debris. So evidently it was a hydrothermal explosion, according to the Weather Channel, that occurred in the Biscuit Basin area of Yellowstone National Park on, I guess last Tuesday. A 50-foot high hydrothermal explosion of hot magma. No, wait. Hot pool.
Magma.
Yeah, explosion of a hot pool. May 17th in Yellowstone's Biscuit Basin. So it was a while back. It's seen in a photograph by Wade Johnson, or at least this photograph is, a field engineer with the nonprofit UNAVCO Earth Science Consortium in Boulder, Colorado. Nobody was injured in the rare explosion, witnessed by about 25 geologists and other scientists on a field trip. I mean, it was just a little burpage, it looks like. Kiwi, you want to chime in any of your geological studies about what we witnessed here? I can go into more detail here in a second. She does. She has something to say. She wants to clap on this. So the question, I guess, in essence is, like, is the Yellowstone Caldera going to blow? And Kiwi has some thoughts upon that. But also, here's a good question. Demand asked me this many campfires ago, and I didn't really have an answer at the time. But what indeed is a caldera, right? And there's a gigantic one encompassing a large swath of what we know as the Yellowstone National. A caldera, right? Is a large one encompassing a large swath of what we understand to be the Yellowstone National Park in North America. A caldera is a large volcanic crater, especially one formed by a major eruption leading to a collapse of the mouth of the volcano.
How?
So, Kiwi, please elucidate to what is the hubbub and why we have no reason to worry.
Okay, so specifically with the supervolcano, right? You have to have a certain amount of magma for it to actually be able to erupt. And at the moment, the magma underneath the ground, it's only like 5 to 15% molten is what they're estimating at the moment.
Oh, okay.
And for it to actually erupt, it's got to be, I think it's between 16 to 20% for it to actually be even like of concern. So there is a chance that it will, but it's not going to erupt at like the super volcano level that it has previously.
Right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's 35 to 50%.
35 to 50%.
Is what it
What is
needs to
that
be.
now?
So
You said it was 15
we're
to 20?
At 5 to 15%.
5 to 15. Okay.
So there's still a fair way for it to go for it to actually have enough magma underneath for it to erupt. There is a chance that the geologists are wrong because you can't exactly just go down there and have a look. But from the seismic like cameras and imaging and everything that they've got at the moment, they're guessing it is between 5 and 15%. So it should be okay.
Should be okay. Now, how are these machines calibrated?
Honestly, that is above my pay grade.
It's hopes and prayers are actually as evidence. So, but to be perfectly clear, a caldera forms when a supervolcano erupts previously, right? So Yellowstone's already blown.
Yeah, about I think it was 600,000 years ago, it actually erupted, and it was quite catastrophic.
600,000 years ago, so just a little while ago, not too long. It did erupt. I wonder if we have any data on what the damage was when it happened. It's just speculation. Clearly,
I do have another question. How rapidly can a volcano replenish magma? Right? I know there's probably like a normal rate, and it's probably super slow. But has there ever been any instances where a volcano has rapidly replenished its magma?
Yeah, I mean, one that I know off the top of my head is White Island off the coast of New Zealand. That one is constantly erupting and it's constantly replacing the magma.
Now, why is that? Why does it? How is it? Just nature just being like, let's make a bunch of magma, yeah.
Yeah, it's different temperatures. So magma is just
okay.
essentially melted rock. So the hotter it is, the more likely it is to melt, the more likely it is to get more magma.
Okay. And it's cooler in Yellowstone than it is in New Zealand, I assume.
Not necessarily. It also depends on the type of rock.
Oh, okay.
This is really interesting. I gave you a picture so you can see exactly what Yellowstone is sitting on, Demand, if you want to look at it.
I do. Give me 13 seconds.
It's got Earth's crust. It shows the caldera. It shows basically what we're looking at. And it's a simple drawing, diagram, etc. But I think it sort of lets you see what everyone is standing and visiting, which I enjoy that because it's it's funny to look at, thinking that people are like, yeah, let's go visit like the super volcano remains that are still hot enough to produce molten geysers that shoot
Now,
into the air.
if it does go off, do you know the damage?
I have an article about it. If we want to go into that, I was going to let Demand there. He's got it right now.
Okay.
So you want to, Kiwi, before we talk about that, if you want to look and see, explain, like basically what we're looking at here. So
hold on. I also know that volcanoes don't exactly erupt straight up and down, because we visit Mount something in like where Seattle's located, up in that region. And St. Helen, yeah, that actually blew out the side of the volcano, the mountain.
Yes. And that will depend on, I guess, where a lot of the pressure is and also the type of volcano.
There's different types of volcanoes. Okay, I thought there was just like a magma volcanoes.
Yeah, no, the bar magma volcanoes are stratovolcanoes, which are the typical, that's what you see in kids' book kind of volcanoes that erupt and kill everything. You do actually have a couple of other types which are a lot safer, and those are, where is it? Iceland, I think, where they've got all the volcano eruptions at the moment, is a different type of volcano to St. Helens, because, you know, it's a lot safer. You can actually go up there, you can stand next to the magma, and you're probably not going to get hurt.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to Hawaii at that, and I think it was 2005, if I'm not mistaken. And the Big Island, their volcano is still active, and it was erupting while we were there. But it's like this just gentle, like, you know,
plume.
Flow, like plume, right? And so parts of the Volcanoes National Park that exist there were closed, but I mean, you could still drive around, but I remember you could just smell like sulfur and ash when you were anywhere near it. Even, I'm sure we were probably, you know, like 50, 60 or more miles away from the actual, you know, erupting part of it. But like Kiwi said, you know, it's not always a volcano. It's just like explodes out, right? Like that. Like it's just constantly erupting, like all the time. So,
I do actually have a fun fact about how we got a lot of the information about the eruption from Mount St. Helens.
Mm-hmm.
There was a geologist who was actually on the mountain when it erupted, and he was taking photos. They knew it was going to happen at some point. They didn't realize it was going to be right then. So he actually realized he wasn't going to make it off because of the, like, extreme, you know, how extreme the eruption actually was.
Yeah,
he put his camera and his gear in the bag, lay down on top of it, and just sacrificed himself for the data. So all of the photos, all of the recordings, everything that he got actually survived.
He Pompeyed himself.
No way. Dude, but I mean, like, it didn't, I don't think there was rushes of lava. It was just like an explosion, right? It just blew him up, basically. How did he survive? Like, obviously he didn't survive, but how did the data survive?
So basically his body acted as a shield.
So probably he died from, not to be too gruesome, but it's Campfire Stories, so screw it. He probably burned because of the steam then, because he didn't get launched, right? Like he probably died from the smoke and the steam and the.
You're probably passed
I
out
don't
from
know
the
if it
smoke
was
inhalation.
the smoke and the steam, or if it was a landslide because the whole half the mountain just fell off, or if
Yeah,
it was actually the lava. I'm not sure exactly the details on how he died.
Oh man, that's horrific and
That is
crazy.
horrific.
But he did survive the. I mean, excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying that, but the data did survive, and so we got a lot of scientific data from that. Man's a hero. That's insane.
There's actually a so it's basically a whole lot of photos stitched together of the eruption, and it's I wish I could find it quickly,
We'll
but it's
we'll have a campfire
got
stories because
his
that's sick. That's awesome.
yeah, it has his last like recording, communications with his friend,
Wow.
like
that's
overlaying
awesome.
over the video, and it's just it gets you in the feels.
We're absolutely gonna have an entire campfire story on that right there because that is amazing. So went out like Gollum said, jokes. There is
My
the
precious.
Yellowstone hot springs slash super volcano area in Yellowstone. It's a beautiful place. It's there's not a surprise where everybody wants to go see it. But if you saw the picture before, you are underneath, a potential one day, maybe even if it's 1,000 years, from exploding. According to Vox.com, they asked the question that Kiwi said, and you can go ahead and I'm going to read this, and you can chime in whenever you want to, Kiwi. What would happen if the Yellowstone supervolcano actually erupted? They go on to say if the supervolcano underneath Yellowstone National Park ever had another massive eruption, it could spew ash and smoke for thousands of miles across the United States, damaging buildings, smothering crops, and shutting down power plants. It would no doubt be a huge disaster. But that doesn't mean we should all start freaking out. The odds of that are happening, as Kiwi mentioned, are thankfully pretty low. It looks like there is a diagram. So what would a Yellowstone eruption look like? So the most likely scenario in Yellowstone is a smaller event that would produce lava flows, similar to what happened. I don't know if you know about this one, Kiwi, at Iceland's, how do you say this word? Bora Bora Bunga Island or Bora Bora Bunga right now, and the possible typical volcanic explosion. This would likely be precipitated by a swarm of earthquakes in that specific region of the park as the magma made its way to the surface. But a much more unlikely event, according to Vox, would be a bigger super eruption. And the warning signs, of course, before that happened would potentially be much bigger. We'd likely first see intense seismic activity across the park. This person named Lowenstern says, I assume they're a geologist, it would take weeks or months for those earthquakes to break up the rocks above the magma before the eruption. And what if we did get the super eruption? An event that was 1,000 times more powerful than a regular volcanic eruption would occur, ejecting at least 240 cubic miles of material into the atmosphere that could last weeks or months, question mark. The lava flows themselves would be contained within a relatively small radius within the park, say 40 miles or so. And it said, in fact, only about 1/3 of the material would actually make it up into the atmosphere. According to this, yet again, a super eruption would conceivably bury the northern Rockies in 3 feet of ash, devastating large swaths of Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, Montana, and Utah. Meanwhile, the Midwest would get more than a few inches of ash themselves, while both coasts would see even smaller amounts. The exact distribution of ash would depend on the time of year and, of course, weather patterns. So basically, the entire United States of America would be covered in ash. The West Coast and sort of Middle America would get, the brunt of the devastation. But it would, you want to add to that, like what other potential effects could happen? Again, this is only one opinion.
Well, with the ash, that would kill off, plants, animals, buildings would be completely destroyed. It would probably be splintered rock and glass as well, which is obviously not great.
Hmm.
Depending on how much particles, I guess would be the best word for it, ended up in the atmosphere that could cause, apart from, potentially global disruptions with flight and travel, that could actually cause kind of like a greenhouse effect where, the sunlight can come in, the heat can't get out, so it just starts heating the planet for as long as, the particles stay in there, which could actually have a lot more global implications.
Right. Events of this nature have taken place before. Obviously, there have been multiple recorded explosions of calderas all over the planet, and there's even evidence on the moon and Mars, Venus, and other planets too of these types of events, and they can be completely devastating for the actual climate of the planet for years, like Kiwi said, causing premature greenhouse effects or even mini ice ages, depending on how much of the material gets into the atmosphere, and as the article stated, weather patterns and things.
We need an ice age right now. It's so hot in Florida. First of all, it can't even erupt right now.
like Kiwi said, though, I mean, it could easily be a greenhouse effect. Like, it could get hotter. You could literally cook on anywhere near the equator, including Florida.
You know what? Just for you guys, if it gets hot enough, I'll cook an egg on the hood of my car.
Okay. You got to film that for our new YouTube channel. The last ice age was 300 to 400 years ago.
We're due for another one.
They could be caused by geological events and have been in the past. There is some theories about that, which I'm not going to go into because I don't have all the information in front of me. We got to get Eternity in here next. Ad break ends in 7 seconds.
I'm excited for everything that's to come.
All right.
Mouse lagging.
Welcome back. Sorry about the ad break. Twitch owns our balls. We have no control over it. If you're just joining us, welcome back to the Dr. Man Show. Show-a-thon. This is the Camp Deep Dive, Campfire Stories, Deep Dive Edition. We got Kiwi with us right now explaining exactly what devastation will be caused by the Yellowstone Caldera Eruption. I mean, it's pretty horrific.
Yeah, I'd say so.
To think, but as she said, the odds currently, as far as we know, are low, right, Kiwi? Do they have an idea of when, if at all? Like, so the two options are: this thing could erupt slightly, it could erupt majorly, or not at all. Is that a question too? Could it just die?
Yeah. Again, depending on the temperature, if all of the magma solidifies into rock, it's not going to erupt. The question as to whether it will ever erupt as a supervolcano, they're kind of leaning towards the probably not.
Okay. But there's still a probability of it actually going as a supervolcano. Now, how old how old is that equipment that they're using? Are they have they done advancements to the equipment? What is your knowledge of the equipment?
Oh, they're constantly updating it and upgrading it as, technology and technological advancements allow. I know they were using new in 2022 equipment. I don't know if there's been any updates since then.
Okay. I can honestly say that it has to be good equipment, because to say that a geological event of that nature would be a national security risk is like an understatement of the millennium, right? Like, clearly we need to be able to defend our country, and people looking at, from enemies, foreign, national and abroad. So it's something that we definitely need to keep an eye on. It would be ridiculous if our equipment wasn't the best, but I'm sure there's some geologist right now with a paper bag and a stethoscope or some nonsense who would disagree.
Holding up to the earth. It's like, yeah, it's about 5% right now.